I can. Can you hear me?
I can. Oh my God, I get to hear your voice for the first time. Like, oh, there you are. There's the beautiful lady. Let me see if I can
Oh, thanks.
pull you up here and try to get the expand. All right, I'm gonna let you be on there if you don't mind. Is that okay?
Oh boy, hi. Hi
Yeah.
everyone.
No
Yeah,
one
that's
wants
okay, sure.
no one wants to see my mug anyway, so you're good.
Oh,
This
come on now. Look at my hair. It's a disaster today.
it's all, oh yeah, you're good. You're good. Real quick before I start, drilling you on the story, why don't you go ahead and announce
Oh
yourself?
boy.
All right, put you on
Hey
the spot.
guys. It's Emma. It's Emma Carolina. Nice to see y'all. Thank you for coming. I don't do lives.
It's all good. It's all good.
This is my first time doing a live.
It's okay. I was
So
just like,
don't
yeah,
mind me and my awkwardness.
I think that I think that's what everybody do when they go online. It's not usual to see yourself on the screen, right?
We're
But
behind the scenes. I'm a behind the scenes person.
no, no. I tell you what, though, you're probably one of the most amazing writers I've ever seen. That's serious. Like you really are good. Now, real
Thanks,
quick
man.
before I go on to the Huggin Molly story, how long have you been into the writing field, and how long have you been a self-published author?
um, I've been I was trying to write my first two books for like 10 years. But I didn't actually get serious probably until the last 2 years. And then I published my first book in January, Shadows of Dreams in January, and then Shadows of Frost in September, I think. So this year. But I've been trying to write my whole life. It's just the whole getting yourself to actually do it and finish something thing.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's easy to get
Yeah.
like there's times whenever you get like stuck or something, and then there's life takes hold, so you can't always just go back to the story. You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
on yours, The Shadow of the Dreams, I read that one as well. I'm waiting to
Yes,
read
thank you.
Shadow of Frost. That one is really, really good. You gotta. So when I do interviews, one I get sidetracked very easily. I don't know how many times you followed me on here. I have damage to my head, so that's real. So forgive me on it. But one of the cool things with yours, and we'll just talk about Shadow of the Dreams really fast, is there's the scene at the beginning when I don't want to ruin it for everybody on there, but they get out of the morgue, right? And then there's the battle in the street, and I'm thinking like I do these quick, fight scenes or battles on mine, and then you brought out this mastery. I cannot pronounce a word for the life of me. Mastery of this scene. You painted this awesome world of just the words alone. And when she's trying to escape up the the balconies, and then
Fire
you got
escapes.
the
Yeah.
fire escapes, and then you got the two demons, the one skinny and the one tall, and then the fight scene inside the street. And then she comes back, and I'm just like on the edge of my seat. And this is like the first chapter, right? And it was amazing.
Yay.
So, how did you come about that story, or what kind of pulled you in that direction?
I think honestly it was boredom at my day job. I worked reception in a hotel for 7 years, and when it was really slow, I would just start writing in my Gmail account and then like send the stuff I'd written to myself so I could keep track of it. And that's kind of how the story grew. Like honestly, I think it was boredom and walking through downtown Vancouver, taking transit and then like seeing the buildings and seeing the anybody who's from Vancouver has already kind of noted how there's certain things that they're like, oh, that sounds like this area. And I'm like, yeah, that's
Yeah.
it's the going through downtown Vancouver, seeing the sights in the evenings and mornings, and being really bored in a hotel. I think that's where it started from.
Well, like Sherry just put in the comments, I agree with her. Thank God for that boring job, because otherwise, I don't think we could be
Yes.
blessed, right? Because your work is amazing. Now you came out with Shadow of Frost just recently, and I've already seen it being reviewed by all these people, and everything is just this. Everybody keeps saying the same thing, just stunning. So, how are you handling the success of these books? Because I mean, it kind of like hit pretty quick.
Yeah, it's really hard for me to hear like praise. I'm just like, okay. It's hard. I'm working on it. I'm working on it. I'm like, okay, that's great. It's kind of I try to be really like I'm so grateful and I feel so humbled that anyone's even interested in reading, anything I've written. I'm just me, it's just kind of dreams you put on a page and you just hope someone's going to enjoy. So every time there's a positive review or someone sends me a comment privately about something they enjoyed, it's thrilling. And I think all of us who are authors can agree that it keeps us writing. Like those comments just make me go, okay, I can totally write the next book because there's people who are excited to read it. And it just helps push me to keep going, even though we're juggling life and so many things, right? It's crazy. This community, like honestly, this community on TikTok and Instagram, the indie author community has blown my mind. I had no idea the love and support I was going to get. So
It,
grateful. Like I can't even begin. It's been phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. Like you guys are more supportive than my friends and family and I'm so grateful, honestly. Just so grateful.
no, that is correct. So like, I mean, you got to realize that you got people from around the world, right? And then you come together. Books, I think that shows another reason why stories are so important because it brings people around the world. Like, me and Marion, everybody knows that me and Marion are like close friends now. You know what I mean? We're so
Yeah.
far apart, even though she keeps trying to get me to drive up there. I keep saying no, but I love Marion. And then I love seeing, I think it's really cool to see different styles. Like you're up in Canada. Gillian O'Rourke, I'm reading her book right now, and the style of writing is based off of like out of Scotland and stuff in Ireland. And it's really cool that this community has come together and be so supportive. And I do see that your books get really good recognition that they deserve. So, I mean, congratulations on that. Where do you
Thank
see
you so
yourself
much.
going now after these two books?
The next two.
You got
I gotta finish the series.
to finish the series. Nice. Do you know how
Hmm.
many books are going
Yeah.
to be in the series?
I was hoping just to have four, but I'm honestly not sure if I can wrap it up in four books. So I've got two out, which means I have two more to do. I'm more than halfway done book three. So book four was supposed to be the last one, but I'm not sure now if I can finish it in four books. So we'll see. But it's so fun. It's so fun.
Well, if you got a hit, here's like the pro and a con of, and the other authors if they want to hear this. So one thing with marketing, right? Like I don't really like to give out too much marketing advice online because then you get the wrong. Sometimes you can attract the wrong attention. I'm gonna just say it straight out, right? I get some that will bombard my DM box and saying this. I do put some tips on my Patreon and stuff like that. But whenever you're a new author, it's a risk to do a series, right? Because if you have a set idea and then the first one doesn't take off, now you're stuck with all these ideas that just failed, right? But then if
Yeah.
also if it blows up and it takes off really well, then it's good because now they're committed to several books, right? And just from the community, like I actually heard about you not by following anybody on here. I heard about you from an actual friend, believe it or not. I was
Oh,
doing a,
really?
I swear, I was doing a book signing at some, coffee shop. I don't know where it was. It was because I've done quite a few of them, but I was doing a coffee shop of it. And I was talking with this, someone that followed me or that was a fan. And she was saying that, hey, I heard you read romance books or you write romance in your books. I said, yeah, I got some favorite authors and stuff like that. She goes, well, have you ever read, because this was right when your book came out, the first one. She goes, have you ever read Emma Carolinas? I said, I'd never heard of her at the time, right? Just being honest. And then she gave me the link. And then I started following, when I started looking at some of the other authors I followed, I started seeing it pop up. And I was like, heck yeah, I'll give it a shot. And oh my God, I am so glad I did. Because that is like, I can't wait to get all four, and you did fantastic. So you should be extremely pleased on that because I think that you got a really solid hit and you're such a really great writer.
Thank you so
Now,
much.
you're welcome, most welcome. Now, you took a challenge that was out of your realm, at least in this case, because I gave a challenge out there that was very time constricting for someone that writes very long books, right? Like most romance writers will do 300 to 400 maybe in a series, whereas most thriller writers, because we got to keep it short for the thrill, it's only like 200 pages, right? So it's easy to do. At least that's the way I look at it. So you were given in such a short time frame, very little details except for what I sent you personally in your email on what you could do, and you had to keep it within underneath 5,000 words. So, the first question would be, what possessed you to take advantage, or not take advantage, but do the challenge? Obviously, that's out of your wheelhouse. And then two, how challenging did you find it?
I kind of felt like because I'm part of the community and like I mean I love all your stuff and we have a lot of the same people we're following. I kind of felt like oddly obligated to at least put my name in. Like, come on, Emma, grow a pair, just throw it in. I was pretty nervous. I was like, there's going to be lots of people. What are the chances my name will come up? It'll be fine. I won't have to actually do it. And then, of course, my name does come up, which I thought was hilarious. I was really nervous to do it because of the only 5,000 words. I was like, holy crap, how do you do a beginning, middle, and end with only 5,000 words? Like, my two novels are 120,000 words. I'm like, how do I do that? So it was really hard, but it was really rewarding. Like I basically just sat down and wrote the entire thing in one go in like 3 or 4 hours. And then I edited the heck out of it over the next couple of weeks and just kept like adjusting and trying to piece it together so that it worked. And I kept very careful track of my word count and I kept adjusting it, being like, okay, I've got another 3 words. Where can I change it to put those 3 words in here? Because I really needed all those. I think I hit exactly 5,000 words and it was not easy, but it was really fun and super rewarding. I really enjoyed the challenge, but it was hard.
You just threw me for a loop. Okay, I'm like holy shit, is because you just said that you wrote that story in like 3 to 4 hours. That's like several pages long. That's not like most authors, if they're lucky, get 3 clean pages in a day, and I'll be here for like 3 or 4 hours and get like a page done. You did a whole short story of 5,000 words in 3 to 4 hours. Seriously?
I got in the flow.
That
Just
is
kind of came.
crazy. That right there is an amazing talent, because I don't think that anybody that's not an author understands how hard it is. It's not a matter of just throwing words on a piece of paper. You got to create some dialogue in the head. And that dialogue's got to portray a feeling of emotion, and you got to be able to make sure it stamps. So to do that, you literally got to like really play in your head to get it down. And you did that in 3, 4. That is an amazing story. Like, I want everybody to read it because they're gifts, man. She deserves it. I don't know any other author that
Thanks,
I've ever
guys.
been with that has written a book out like that short story in that time frame. And you were very elaborate. You took a person that's in a village, and then you created a Fey world on the other side of this bridge. Unless I'm missing something. Remember, my noggin's not always right. But then you even were able to, even though it was probably not, the way the story obviously is turning into a dark story. It's a dark story, right? But you're even to throw in a little bit of spice in the middle of it, right? Where how she becomes pregnant. And I'm just like, what the hell? This is awesome. Because you were able to create, I mean, honestly, I could see this story. Because what I do with all the authors, I guaranteed 100% rights to you guys. Okay, because it's your stories, so you guys can market it, do whatever you guys want with it. I would literally at some point turn that into a full blown novel because I guarantee it to sell like crazy. You did such an amazing
Thank
job
you.
on it. That was good. But tell us a little bit how you came up with some of the characters. They're going to read it later, so they'll figure it out. But if you don't mind, go ahead with especially how did you come up with the whole Fae angle?
I think I got into the the whole like fairy tale idea. Like my maternal grandmother was really big into like the Grimm's fairy tales, and she used to actually, which a lot of them are very dark, she used to actually read fairy tales to us often as kids. So in my head, I kind of just had this idea that it was going to turn into like just a dark fairy tale. Or here we have fairy lights that are calling to people and trying to get people to come because yeah, the fairies can't breed on their own anymore. And then her just wanting to make sure that doesn't happen to anybody, right? In the end there, where she is basically sacrificed to protect the kids and to keep everyone in the village safe and leave. Well, I'm spoiling things. I shouldn't say anything else.
No,
But
but
it came
you can spoil a
it
little bit of
was
it.
like sorry, anybody who hasn't read it yet. Shoot.
You're good. Go ahead.
But
I only got like two
I
Patreon followers anyway, so you're good.
one of them's me. Actually, I have like I'm following from like three different email addresses. I got confused. I don't know what happened. Anyway, yeah, it was just the fairy tales that I think I grew up listening to that I just was like, okay, I could turn this into just too much curiosity and getting pulled into this kind of crazy magical mystery world that turns out to just be dark and evil and cruel. And then how can you keep people safe from that and protect them from that? The actual characters themselves, well, I wanted my main, heroine Molly to have some of the characteristics if I could possibly put them in. And there's a few hints of that with like she has, long fingers and is taller than, so it's like hints that she's part fae, but also that's a few of the tidbits of the legend was that she was supposed to be really tall, right? And
Mhm.
then bringing in the hat and the cloak in the end. And I was just like, how could I
Yeah.
fit a hat and a cloak or a hat in here to try and have just a little bit more of that um, nod to the legend that I'm trying to write on. And I didn't want it to be I didn't want to follow closely to the actual myth and legend, which
Mhm.
I did quite a bit of reading on, and holy crap, fabulous. I was so excited that that's what we were doing because it was so fun.
Yeah, I will say
I've
like
got
the
a
whole.
baby. I'm sorry for the distraction.
No, you're good. And then you had the Fae and like that's I thought that was a really good spin that you were like she's half Fae and then half human, and getting back over the bridge, and that's how she was sewn because she was basically messed over in the Fae world,
Yeah.
and she
Yeah.
was lucky that one of them was able to help her get out. But
Yeah.
the whole like you losing the children aspect of it. If you don't mind, I am not very good at vocally reading, but I like to read just a tad bit of it.
Oh,
Are you
please
okay?
do. Please do. I don't want to do it, so please do.
All right. So everybody bear with me. You guys are dealing with me, so you know that I'm all messed up and I can't do things right. So here we go. This was called My Molly, and it was done by Emma Caroline. It was taken off there. So I'm going to read a little bit of it because we only got so much time on the show here, but let's see what we got. My gran warned me when the air shifted, when the moon was just so and the night felt unsettled, when a shiver ran down my spine and the hair on my arms rose. She would look at me with those piercing green eyes, eyes like mine, eyes like my mother's. Her heavy black brows would knit together. Her face became fierce as any storm, like she knew exactly what I was thinking. Do not go there, my Molly. Do not go there. That's all she would say. But her shoulders would tense and her head would turn toward the bridge, toward those trees, the distant brush of their topmost branches just visible. Our village had always feared the fairy folk. The elders spoke of them as myth and legend, terrible yet enchanting creatures. They weren't natural, tall and willowy with features that dazzled one out of the sense and mind. Stay away from that place, the elders would just whisper to us children when our eyes were huge and curious. I have never feared the fairy folk. I couldn't say why. I simply did not understand how something that was so magical could be so dangerous. Not then, at least. Perhaps if Gran had told me more, if she had shared what she knew, perhaps I would have listened. Years passed. I awoke in a sweat, linen thrown in my sleep. Shivering in the cold night, my window left ajar. The moon glided upon a sweep of cloud, wispy like a winding path through the foggy marsh. I slipped from my damp bed. Shut up! You're screwing up the flow.
Yeah, I'm ruining the flow of this.
I slipped from my damp bed and wrapped a heavy shawl around my shoulders, standing to gaze into the night. She was beautiful, that moon, in a star-specked sky, like a queen with her ladies-in-waiting flocking her. My heart fluttered with the promise of delicious abandon as my eyes traveled, the black and silver depths of shadows to the outline of trees, across the distant brook to that forbidden trail. I had always obeyed Gran, working away in her tiny, bustling shop, always at her side. She would click her tongue at me at my wandering eyes. You have too much of your mother in you, she would say. When I asked what she meant, never you mind, was her reply. That was that. It sounded like a bad thing to be like my mother. She vanished when I was too young to remember her face. I yearned to hear her voice. The hollow look in Gran's eyes told me there were many stories, yet she always seemed too afraid to speak them. Had my mother been swept away by a sailor at sea? Had she fallen in love? Perhaps a prince from a far-off land had captured her heart. But that sadness in Gran's deep green stare had me swallowing my questions. No one in the village spoke of my mother. Sometimes their eyes would grow sad, too, when they saw the light grace in a certain way, as if they could see her reflected back to them. I should have been satisfied with my life. I had everything a person could ask for. A roof over my head, a warm bed, food on the table, and purpose. When many had nothing, I had all I needed, but not all I wanted. My life felt hollow, empty. What was it because I had no husband, no child? I had wondered if love would fill the void within me, but somehow the men I came across never caught my eye, not like that path across the brook did. I had considered leaving our village, not for some time, to be sure. I could never abandon Gran. A short adventure, maybe. The darkness outside my window seemed to beckon that night, tearing me from sleep, asking me to come for a stroll. I knew better, of course, and perhaps if it hadn't been for what had happened next, I would have stayed instead of tiptoeing outdoors. Light that seemed to fall from the sky and dance in the distance. I held my breath, clutching my shawl tighter. These were not shooting stars. They fluttered, bobbed, and swept, blinking in and out among trees. If I stared too long, my eyes could no longer see them. I blinked. There they were, dancing, beautiful, radiant. And so the front door latch clicked behind me, almost silent. I slid my slippers onto my feet and took a lantern from the hook on the porch. My heart fluttered fast as I lit it with my long, white fingers, the match almost burning me. With a quick glance over my shoulder, quietly I followed the path. Along the edge of town, through the field, flowers slumbering, and the bridge over the brook. I halted there, listening to the water singing below me, my throat closing. I should have turned back. I knew I should have. But that empty space between my ribs and my chest where my heart was thundering, it yearned for more. I wanted to see those lights. Toes curling in my slippers, I put down my lantern. A trespasser, I couldn't risk discovery by carrying its warmth. I scampered across the bridge, furthest away from home I have ever been. When I finally paused, out of breath, and looked back, I could not see the light of the lantern seated upon the bridge's rough wall. The wilderness hid it from me, or the breeze had blown it out. The trees had not clawed at me with ravenous fingers as expected. I halted safely, pressed against a skidmore. I don't think I said that word right, but we're going to move along. I clutched smooth, soft bark, peering around my shield, enraptured. Lights bounced and wove as if, well, by magic, orbs that hovered above crowned heads of dancers. They glided so light-footed the grass hardly moved, garbed in flowing fabrics, otherworldly like water woven by starlight. Males with bare chests, skin shining. Females, their tinkling laughter, taunting and teasing. Faces and graceful limbs painted in shimmering dust. I felt my cheeks flush with heat. What was this? Their skin in many shades and hues was so on display. Where I came from, the most minimal of flesh was seen. Yet here, these creatures, they hid nothing. It was flaunted. Their dance had them caressing each other in a way that made my own flesh burn in shame to witness. It went on, dizzying, growing faster and faster. Music I hadn't registered until now hummed from the trees, from the air. It filled my pores and tickled down my throat into my lungs. It enveloped me. I couldn't think, could only feel the whimsical notes wrapping around my soul, binding me still. Would you like to join us? My entire body went rigid. A hand closed over my shoulder, gently turning me. He stood 2 heads taller than I, unusual. I was thought too tall for a woman. Many men stood at my height, if not lower. Tall, lean, with muscles on display and hair the color of, I couldn't name it, between the white of moth and the turquoise blue of a hummingbird's wings. Without thought, I brushed his long curtain of hair draped across his shoulder, as soft as the richest fabric. I caught my breath. His eyes glinted with humor. They seemed to shift color, and I found myself staring unabashed. Violet and then green. My brow crinkled. I had never seen anything so enchanting. I tried to step back and then remembered myself, but the trunk of the tree stopped me. With a crown of greenery that carried a scent I had never smelt, he tilted his head, smiling. His hand rested near my shoulder against the tree. One of his fingers brushed the night shroud. It had slipped. His finger traced the line of fabric in the bare space where it dipped along my skin, my shoulder, and then the curve of my neck. Pretty, he whispered, his lips tinted with that dust, like rays of the moon sparkling across a dew-draped petal. My chest was too tight. I couldn't speak. His touch was sin and life. It erased all sense from me. His smile curved further, and he shifted abruptly. The air felt instantly cold, and my breath hitched. Now that there was space between us, my eyes raked over him. I could not deny myself. He seemed unreal, like marble, sculpted to perfection instead of birth grown and raised. Robed in nothing more than a sash, a shawl that clung to his hips, but a scrap that cut high, knotted and folded at his waist. There was nothing modest about these creatures. I couldn't call him anything but a creature. This was no man, no human. You are fairy folk, I whispered. It was not a question. We are. A female, well, I probably shouldn't have done it in that deep of voice as a female. Back it up. We are, a female said, making me jump and turn, bumping into the male. The female stood as beautiful as serene as he, flowers and greenery adorning her hair. Shimmering graced her cheeks, eyelids, and I caught my breath yet again. The peaks of her breast, oh, we might stop there. All right, we're going to go ahead and stop at that part. But I think that you guys got the gist of it. Kind of went a little bit too far. After that, the spice does come into scene for a little bit. And I'll leave you guys to, let me shut this down really quick. I'll leave you guys to read the story on the Patreon. Right there, that was breathtaking.
Thanks, Mike. That was great.
Yeah, I don't know if
Thank you.
I'm probably not the best reader.
You did great.
Thank you.
You did fabulous.
I appreciate it. There's my point, though. So when you were describing, even when you're talking at the very beginning of it, and you're just talking about, her, what her grand says and all that stuff, the words, it's almost like every sentence is describing everything around them, but it's breathtaking. And the way you did the sentences, it's not, I want people, you guys on the screen can't see it. That's the reason why I really want you guys to go read the story. The way she wrote it, it wasn't like, it was written in like almost like a poetry type setting where there was a sentence and broken to a sentence and broken, and then you had a full like paragraph. But that enhanced how that words were played for that sentence because it gave you time to breathe and really feel that scene. And I think that's truly amazing. And do you feel, that's my biggest question right now, is has that always been like a natural gift for you, or did you actually kind of like either studied or fooled around with the idea to create such creative scenery in your writing?
I want to say it just has to do with reading a lot and being read to a lot as a kid. My mom was really good at reading aloud to us, like Lord of the Rings. She read the Lord of the Rings 3 times to us kids in my family because there were so many of us. And I think it just comes from that. Like I I'm a homeschooler. I didn't go to school. I
My daughter's
didn't study
homeschooled.
writing.
You're good.
Yeah, that's awesome. Um, yeah, I think it's just hearing a lot of fairy tales and reading a lot and hearing a lot as a kid. We listened to a lot of storybooks too growing up, and it's just a feel, you know, words are kind of a puzzle, and creating the sentence to feel right is just about figuring out where to put those words, right? And yeah.
That's I'm glad you said that because with one, a lot of people don't know is that I'm actually a fantasy lover. Like I'm a big more into fantasy, dwarves, elves, and Lord of the Rings or The Hobbit was read to us in school. And I had become a huge fan of J.R. Tolkien. This is back in the 80s, okay, early 80s. And I started becoming to have a thirst for it. I started reading all different types of novels, romance and everything else. But one of my favorite characters is, or one of my favorite authors is R.A. Salvatore. He created the Dritz Du Erden series, which is off the Dark Elf. Okay. And Cat's actually named off of one of the characters. I even have like, I had it over there, but I actually have like, you know, like the dowels you can buy. Well, I don't hate to call them dowels, but they're like the busts that you can buy from like comic book stores and stuff like that. Because the reason why I like fantasy books is because you can build a massive world. Whereas in horror, you're not building a world, you're just building a suspense scene, right? But on these grander levels, like with you, you brought in kind of like angels with the wings and everything else like that, and then bring them back from the dead, and you're coming in there. I've always found that intriguing and fascinating. And you did a phenomenal job on creating this imagery, which makes me curious if you ever plan on doing any kind of like straight up just poetry books. You know, just putting out like a book full of just your own poetry.
I actually, before I started writing Shadows of Dreams, I was compiling a book of poetry. And I continued to do that when I was quite young for a while. It's definitely something I've thought about doing. Um, if I can find them all, I hope I have, you know, over the years, things kind of, but it's definitely been something I originally was going to do. I wanted to be a poet before I wanted to be a novel writer. So it could
Yeah.
definitely happen.
I think honestly, I think that you have like beyond the talent on anything that you do. Like you literally just did something out of your real realm, and it literally just it was mind blowing. One of the things I got back from all seven judges, like every single judge down the line, even though I did have some judges vote, I had like a couple judges vote for Clint. I had some vote for Kristen, but every one
Their
of them
stuff was
agreed.
amazing.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, both of them did really great angles, and this was a really it blew my mind myself because I didn't think the competition. You know, I just threw it together. I wanted to do something for the community, and I ended up with I did a random spin, and I ended up with three authors that are just probably really fantastic. I mean, you guys are legends, right? In my mind, and then I was super excited, and I was also very happy that I was not the judge because it was such a tough decision. And but I think that you have such a mastery of writing anything that it would be a shame if sometime down the line we didn't see a poetry collection from you that hit the market. So I would definitely, I tell you what, if you write a poetry book, maybe just a thin one that it's got like your poetry, I swear I'll give you my word. One, I will buy a copy and then I will put it up as a gift on one of the monthly lives. So that's a guaranteed two sales, right? So
Oh, thanks, Mike. That's
yeah,
awesome.
so make
Thank
sure that
you.
you. I would just do it anyways. And something I give like the tips to the other authors is that, like you said, you had 10 years. You were trying to get ready to put this down, and then you got it out there. Books usually only have their peak sales the first couple of 3 months, unless it's like a legend like yours, and then it might just take off and just boom. It's always good to have a shorter book out there just in place to keep people's mind on you, right? That's something I promote. This is reason why I have a couple short stories out. It keeps people knowing me still in the loop. I really, really, really am going to kind of keep on you about a poetry book because I want one. So put one out
Okay.
there. Yeah. Clint's down there. I knew
Thank
it.
you.
Clint, you did it. I'll give a shout out to Clint. Clint, man, it was a really tough competition. You did get votes. I really liked your story. I loved all three of them. I'm surprised Clint stayed in for this. I don't know if he came in at the end of the episode. Usually he's only here for like a few minutes. I would like to thank all three authors for taking the challenge because I get all the time, and I'm going to pick on a few people. I get all the time people, reaching out to me. We talked about it earlier. Hey, give me marketing tips. Contests are one of the best way to do it because now you can put awards on your award-winning author. You get more recognized when you can do it. And I put it out there, and it was only like 12 people that entered. And there was a lot of people that said no that had literally asked me to help them market, right? And the only reason I stepped out, I usually do competitions as well. The only reason I stepped out of the one that was the Indie Author 2025 Awards, I felt it was a very unfair advantage because, just the way it was set up. And I didn't want to compete in the same categories with authors that I knew were really good that I favored, like Shay. And I didn't want to detract a vote from them. And you're still in that did that competition? Did you win that, by the way? In the
Oh, I
2000
don't. I don't have the followings to actually compete, but I did make it into the last round, which was like, just as you were saying, the exposure in that is amazing, and that's just thanks to all of you guys. Like the only reason
Yeah.
I made it into that to begin with is because you guys put me in there, which I'm again so grateful for. I won't. There's no way I can win. There's some of the authors in there have absolutely massive followings, like
Yeah.
crazy followings. But it's still been an honor and amazing to get that far.
Yeah, I was, like that's the way I felt about it. I just said that, one, you can vote you can vote as many times as you want, and some of these authors had like, thousands and thousands and thousands
Yeah,
of followers. I don't go for
yeah,
follow. I go for quality over quantity. So my followers ain't that high because I will usually just stick with the same ones. So they had a little bit of an advantage. But the fact that you made it to the final round was a huge thing. And I was very pleased when my books got nominated so much. That's how I felt about it. I felt this community was so strong that they did that. We are almost on the 5 minute mark. One, I really want to thank you for coming on here. I know we put you on the spot, and I'm glad I got to read your book
that's
out there to
okay.
everybody. So, real quick, tell everybody who you are, what books you have, and where they can find you and support you.
Hey guys, I'm Emma Carolina. You can find my stuff on Amazon right now. I have Shadows of Dreams and Shadows of Frost out, book 1 and 2 in the Angels of Half-Light series. And thank you so much for letting me come in. And I'm sorry about this little bean being distracting. I'm on kitten duty.
Not a
And thank
problem.
you so much, Mike.
My pleasure. So, with that being said, I will do a tally at the end of the month on who followed the most during the lives, and I'm going to do a spin like I did last month. And I decided that I'm not going to buy just one of Caroline's book or Emma's books. I'm going to buy both of her books as a gift. It'll be sent out to the winner of that at the end of the month, so that you guys can also enjoy her other works in case you haven't read them. I know most of you guys have read her books. That's in the comments, but I'll still do that anyways and send those out. Emma, you're up there in Canada, so it might take a while for that the trophy to come, but I did order it. So I'm sending it direct because it would just cost too much from Florida, but I'm going to send it direct. You're going to get a nice trophy. Hopefully you can put that on your mantle up there with you and show it off a little bit.
Thank you so
Um,
much, Mike. Thank
you're
you.
welcome. I'm going to get ready to go, guys. I've had a lot of things going on out the side of the scenes, so I got to go. But I am Mike Manicki. I'm an author of thrillers and more. You can find my books just the same as Emma's on Amazon. You guys can check it out. My latest one is Graveyard Games. You can also follow me on Patreon. There's a lot of behind the scenes things that you can see. Me and Kat doing foolery, ghost hunts, and other things. And you can find me on Instagram and sometimes on Facebook. All right, you guys, thank you so much for all the gifts. Give a shout out to Emma. Make sure you guys are following her. And my Patreon is author Mike Manicki at patreon.com. One last plug. I'm glad Mally jumped on there. Speaking of Mally, Huggin Molly, we did a story about you, Mally. So, in case you guys don't know, Molly Rocks is a voice narrator. And if you go check her out, I highly recommend you authors follow her. She can literally do any voice, from any accent to anything. I've got to meet her in person. Amazing, 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 talented voice narrator. Make sure that you guys follow her. She is really good. Just watch one of her voice narratings. It's I've never seen anybody that fluid. Maybe the counterpart would be Matt Magnum. Matt Magnum. He's like really good too with the whole changing the things. Obviously, you guys just heard me read, and I'm not anywhere near that. I think I probably lost followers in that last like. They're
No.
like, what the hell is this? Just run your career. All right. Thank you guys. Thank you, Emma. You have a beautiful rest of your day, okay?
Thanks, Mike. Thanks, everyone.
All right, bye now. Gotta like don't know how to turn off my own screen, so bear with me.